how much do we pay annually in relation
or have we paid?
Or in relation, is it have we paid?
Energy sector excess capacity and associated payments.
Not only the entire energy sector.
No,
I'm talking about...
I'm coming. You see, yes, the document that he makes reference to, I'm very familiar with it. But I fail to appreciate the argument of the NDC, whether they are suggesting that there's no excess capacity. Is that the argument? Because that seems to be the narrative that they are pushing, especially after the World Bank country director made a comment about the cost. Look, the facts are factual. I have here a document, right? Integrated Power System Master Plan for Ghana, IPSMP. This was authored in 2018, final version 2019. Listen to the key findings and recommendations. The modeling of Ghana's power sector, for which the integrated planning model was used, right, produced a number of key findings. A selection of these findings and associated implications are described below. Generation and demand. That's 8.1.1. The modeling results confirm that there is significant overcapacity in Ghana at present, and that this overcapacity is expected to continue for the next 5 to 7 years.
From 2018.
Precisely. As the power plants currently under construction, and it makes a reference to a table, are commissioned in 2018 and 2019. The net dependable capacity as of December 2017 was 3971 megawatts, but expected peak demand in 2018 is significantly higher than the planned reserve margin of 20%. Furthermore, the overcapacity challenge situation is expected to continue into the mid-2020s, and it provides a table that makes reference.
And that will be 2025.
So the argument about excess capacity should not even arise.
It's moot.
Because as a matter of fact,
now we have excess capacity.
Question is it static? Obviously not, because you have a demand that is growing.
You're extending
But
electricity,
precisely,
businesses are coming in, they want power.
Precisely, and all that. But the cost, look, we owe car power in excess of $300 million. 60% of that is excess capacity. Payments. So what are we talking about? And it cuts through all the power plants. So that's the basis of the negotiation that the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Energy is engaging with them. That, look, guys, yes, we've contracted you to provide us power. There were components of the billing that had capacity and energy. The energy that we've consumed amounts to X. In the case of car power, as I mentioned, 60% of it, so 40% energy consumed. That is power that you've actually delivered, for which we have to pay. No issue. But what can we do with the 60% excess capacity payments that are due you? So let's not deny some of these things when they come up. Look, I'm happy to engage in a conversation with the NDC, which says that 2012 manifesto said we're going to increase the electricity generation to 5,000 megawatts. And so that's what we set out to do. Regardless of the cost implications, which is real, we had to put that generation in and bear the cost. We can have that debate. But to suggest that this is some phantom creation by somebody just to discredit the Mahama administration, it's unfortunate, because the data clearly supports the fact that you have excess capacity for which you keep paying till date.
In the sector, I've been speaking to someone also in the sector as well, and works in the Middle East and Africa. He says that having excess capacity, if there's a policy intervention for the off-taking of the excess capacity as itemized each year till the time that it is exhausted, is not bad. Why haven't we, as a country, been able to make use of that excess capacity?
You need transmission to transmit it, right? Right.
True.
You need infrastructure to transmit the capacity. Where's the infrastructure?
And you need off-takers.
Of course. So that argument really is neither here nor there. Of course. I mean, that's why you have a plan that you have to follow. just so that you don't go into a situation where you have electricity generation deficit. But how you roll out the plan really is to do an incremental addition such that you minimize your cost. Because yes, there ought to be redundancy within the system at all times. And the document that I read, it says that the reserve margin of 18-20%, the capacity that you had was way in excess of that. What it means is that anything above the reserve of 20% is cost that you really could have avoided if you were following some plan that then allows you to operate within that reserve margin. But then, yes, just so you meet demand going forward, add incrementals as and when your plan says you ought to. Okay? And so these issues, I sometimes when we engage in them, it's baffling, because the fact of the matter is that the state of Ghana, for which you and we are leading today, and for which you are seeking to lead, has incurred cost, huge cost. Yes.
Can I say that for power that we don't need?
Of course. But if you have excess capacity and you are paying for it, what does it mean? That is gone. You have to pay.
Okay. So
no,
please,
let me ask.
So
he's been talking for the past 5
Does it mean that if you have excess capacity, it is bad?
Of course. Why, if it's costing you, why is it good?
So you say sometimes the challenge I have with this narrow conversation is that
Why is it narrow?
Very narrow. As we speak today, there are companies in this country that need more power to produce, but do not have. And so when I hear my deputy minister,
such as?
Please, when I hear my deputy minister of energy make the point that when you have excess power, it's a bad thing, I don't understand.
Because it costs you money.
Please.
Money you don't have. What
Please.
are we talking about?
Anyway, let me say that Professor Lord Mensah has taken leave of us for an important meeting.
Our friends in the MPP reduces power conversation to just moving into the fast food joints and placing an order. And within 20 minutes, they'll give you the food. Like you go to a restaurant, they'll suggest wait.
And why do you say that?
No, because you see, by now, our friends should appreciate that to even put a power plant together, the processes and everything in doing this. And so, if you recall around 2007, when we had the energy crisis, they moved in to bring some emergency. In one of them, Reku Brobe, doctor, described it as toy machine. You remember that conversation? Mm-hmm. The issue about take or pay is not a novelty in Ghana energy conversation. It has always been. In fact, in 2007, Minister Ada also even signed one, the most expensive take or pay agreement we've had to date. It is not new. At the time when the Mahama administration signed most of these take or pay agreements, first of all, we were in an emergency situation.
Really?
We were in an emergency situation. Anybody that denies that we were in an emergency situation is basically playing the politics.
Well, what your
game.
president then told us
Please.
was that some fracturing of the pipeline from Nigeria is what was costing us the deficit in our energy supply.
First of all, if you have a situation where in August 2012, the pipeline transmitting gas
the West
to
Africa
us
gas pipeline
got torn apart. And this is a fact. In fact, I recall 2 of the undersea, drillers or welders lost their life as a result of this explosion. How are you going to deny this? So by 2013, 2014, matters have become, and we have to ramp up some of this production. Today, of all the power purchase agreement. And remember that as we speak today, government is negotiating to sign more of them. How in God's name would you be signing more now if your claim is that we have excess of it? It's politics. It's politics. And I've always asked the MPP communicated. So far, how much have you paid for the take-or-pay agreement by way of excess capacity? They give different figures that suit them.
Well, which figures do you have? Because
at least the last time we had official communication, not from him, but the one doing the payment was the finance minister. When Suhini asked the question. Even at that time, and listen, after 4 years, initially their conversation was that we were paying $1 billion annually, then we expose them that it cannot be correct because we've never paid $1 billion annually for excess capacity charge. Then they now change the conversation. Oh, no. We have been paying excess capacity. What exactly is the case? Are we paying $1 billion annually? Or so far, the accumulated payment? But the other thing they always run away from is the fact that, look, this power purchase agreement are signed in dollar terms. At the time they were signed, the dollar was doing 3.94. Now you have incompetently mismanaged the exchange rate to almost 12%, 12 cedi or 11.90. Then you say, no, as for that component of the increase in the debt, you want to be absorbed of that. Question, how much has the depreciation of the cedi contributed to the current energy
But what has the generation, the power
it
you
matters
generate?
not. We are
What
talking
has it got
about
to do
the
with
debt.
anything?
We are talking about the debt accumulated. Look, he's the minister, deputy minister here. Ask him for confirmation. The whole of 2022, how much of the bills collected by ECG was paid to the independent power producers? He's here. Ask him.
But the agreements that you've signed.
No. He's here.
I don't-
Just
I don't-
ask him.
See.
Oh, maybe
See,
1
Larry,
billion,
don't.
2 billion,
Don't.
$500 million. You should just give us the number.
Wait.
What?
No, wait.
What?
ECG's collection, we all know is insufficient to pay for the
Man,
power.
their
that-
operations
In fact,
and everything. Because they have operational costs.
in fact, check with ECG officials. They will tell you that not a single analysis, feasibility study, or the capability of ECG to pay was ever done with respect to all the power purchase agreements that were signed. Not one. So they just signed them. Yes, they have issues with collections, but you provided the IPPs with government guarantees that anytime that ECG is unable to pay you, government of Ghana is going to make up the difference. That's the kind of agreement that you signed. So look, facts are facts. Like I said, we can have the debate whether the decision that you took was in the best interest of Ghana or not. I'm saying that it was not. But the fact that you needed capacity incremental was real, yes. Toy machines you make reference to, I wasn't the same one as that. The modular
that incremental capacity.
Precisely, based on the plan.
Instead of doing it at once.
Precisely. Because if you need 1,000 megawatts of electricity and you go and contract 10,000 megawatts of capacity today, you'll be paying for the 9,000 that you don't need. But if you add 500, that look, because my demand is growing by 10%, 20%, let's add 500 per year for the next 5 years. Everybody will see that that is a rational decision that you take. But to deny and argue about these matters, it boggles me.
How much are the now accrued energy sector debts? How much are we paying for the excess capacity that we don't need for the IPPs? Two different things. The whole and then the IPPs.
So far, we've spent about 17 billion. Okay,
You mean Ghana cedis?
Precisely in excess capacity and associated payments.
You see
And
how you
from,
call
yes,
it.
of
From
course.
associated
Precisely, but I will explain.
From which?
No, wait,
from
wait,
which
I will
year? From
explain.
2017?
Wait, I will explain. Because, you see, it's not only the electricity generation component. You have take or pay in the gas space, right? Which then means that because you have to use the gas, otherwise you pay for it, you turn on power plants that are gas dependent and shut off others. So those are costs that are associated with the excess capacity contracts that you signed. How is this difficult to understand? You people and your propaganda, you think...
So from which year did you start?
But I'm saying that from 2017 to date, we've paid 17 billion. It's a matter of fact. Nobody can deny this.
So
what are we talking about?
So you see, if you pay a company like Stratcom almost 600 million Ghana.
But it's fuel
Please,
that you bought.
Hold on. If you pay a company like Stratcom 600 million Ghana cedis for fuel they have supplied, how do you call that excess capacity?
But did I say it was excess capacity?
You see, conveniently, when you ask him of the 17 billion,
But
you
I
see
wanted
how
to know
he
from
said
when.
excess capacity and associated. payment.
But it's not associated.
Every time you have accumulated MMDA's debt and all of those things, you have messed up the energy sector. Look at our gas infrastructure. But for the vision of the NDC,
it's unbelievable. You guys, when we discovered oil, you described it as a jungle.
You discovered what?
Any infrastructure that's associated with the oil, you guys want to take credit.
The gas
Can you imagine?
Do you know that in 7 years they've been struggling to do a phase 2? In 7 years.
It's unbelievable. Look.
In 7 years.
Look.
And you see the painful part in all of this conversation.
Can we wrap up on this?
Is how they have messed up the energy sector. And look, let the record be set today that from the way we are proceeding, by 2025, 2026, we are going to have another doomsday.
We have power until excess power
Please,
until 2025.
Please, look, the
finance minister even yesterday said it. I'm looking at the
producer. See, the independent power producer, they are complaining. Meanwhile, you and I know we have ESLA. You recklessly use ESLA for, what do we call it, the ESLA PLC bonds.
You mean it's been securitized?
Yes. But even the money that they claimed they were going to borrow to pay off, how much of it have you paid? Is it the case that ECG doesn't do collection? Aside the money that we have accumulated by way of ESLA receivables, they have used it for consumption.
Look,
consumption-related expenses.
ESLA reports are submitted
if you read the report,
on an annual basis to Parliament. Show us where the consumption is.
Yes,
show it to us.
You know the funny aspect. If you look at Section 5 of the ESLA Act, it makes provision for the price stabilization account or fund. And the essence of that fund is that in state of emergency, crisis like this, you use the monies accrued to what? Stabilize prices for households and others. Nothing had been taken into. Meanwhile, the money is not there to
But the price stabilization
and you know what they have
is
done?
used for petroleum.
They have used the money for other expenses.
It's used for petroleum.
They have used the money for other expenses.
Roland, you recall that
you have basically
in October, November, when fuel prices began spiking at the international level, some taxes and levies were suspended, including the price stabilization.
How much was it?
No, wait.
Please. Ajapa, I beg you.
Please let him make
You've accrued in excess of 3 billion Ghana cedis by reason of the price stabilization receivables.
Show us the document.
You have not used it.
Show it to us.
Section 5 is clear. You've not used it.
So, look, every month, okay, that levy is used to pay for subsidies on premix and then also RFO. And every month.
How much of it is?
So, say it again.
I'm asking you because
I don't have the figures here with me. But I'm saying that
by its use.
These figures that they bandy about. Okay, look, the purpose
and other subsidies.
The purpose for which that levy is used for is clear in the law.
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm not interested in.
But they have not used it for the purpose.
So show us.
You
ask the question.
All right. So
it's been applied consistent with the law. No deviation whatsoever.
So ultimately,
if you accuse somebody, you are the lawyer. You make an accusation. You ought to prove it.
All right.
Let him show us the document that says that it's been used for consumption. What are we talking about?
Can I intervene? The law is specific. I mean, Section 5 of the ESLA Act. It says use these persuades on your fuel so that in times of crisis, you can use it to cushion the consumer.
But it's been done.
Oh, hold on. In this country,
consistently been done.
By October last year, November, we were selling a gallon of petrol for how much? Almost 20 cedi, 24.
But is it not true that the argument
they never used the money?
There was a forex differential. So once your CD is not doing well.
Oh, who is responsible for the city to do well?
Of course, the Bank of Ghana.
No, what Bank of Ghana? It is them, and they have failed. Right, so everything.
All right. So
they are the cause.
When are we meeting the IMF team again?
Well, my understanding was that they were in town last week.
Yes,
as part of their review. And
but we expect a tranche in November.
Yeah, of course, they're going to come back, I'm sure. I don't know the timetable about, when they come and go.
Don't pack. Let's